Sometimes the hardest part of trading isn't finding a setup, it's knowing when to enter. When price breaks a level, momentum can look strong. It can feel like the move is already underway. But quite often the market does return to that level before continuing. And when that happens, the entry can actually become clearer. Let's take a look at this on the charts. Okay, we start out by looking at NAS on the 15-minute time frame. We can see that during open, price is making an aggressive move to the downside. All right, and we don't hop in here though. We wait to see what happens next. And while we're waiting to see if our setup develops, we'll go ahead and start to mark up our chart. So here's our 5-minute supply. And we'll go ahead and set an alert right below the zone so we'll know when price gets to that area. And while we're waiting, this is a good time to check the news. So we don't want to enter into a trade until we've checked to see if there's any red folder news happening during our trading window. So we'll take a look. And we can see that there's nothing happening anytime soon, so we know that it's fine to go ahead and take a trade when we hear the alert go off. Okay, and then a little bit later we see that price actually isn't coming all the way up to the zone that we have created. So what we'll do is look left and we'll try to figure out why price might be reversing in this spot instead of at the supply zone. And it looks like we're getting an engulfing candle already. But if you look to the right where the price axis is, you can see the countdown candle. So we will not enter until the candle is complete. And we're break and retest traders, so we know that we are waiting for price to come back into either a level or a zone, whether that be supply or demand, or back into a support and resistance zone. And that's what's happened here. We've retested back into support turned resistance. Okay, and now the candle is complete. It was an engulfing candle, so here's our opportunity. So now we know that it's time to enter into the trade. Okay, and before I click buy or sell in any trade, I want to think about where I'm going to exit. So I know where we're entering, but where am I going to look to exit the trade and secure profit? So I'm going to go ahead and set an alert right here at this fair value gap, right in the middle of it, because sometimes I know price goes to the middle and then turns around. So I want to know when we get to the middle, and I'll go ahead and move my stop loss to break even at that point and also secure some profit. It's also near the end of that wick there, so that's a good place. Okay, so we've entered, so I've got 2 small contracts here. This is a very small account that we started with $20 with, and we're working up to 50 or 60. It's great practice to use small numbers, and small amounts add up over time. Okay, so price is moving down nicely. I can see that our alert has just gone off. So we know we're at the middle of that imbalance. And so now it's time to go ahead and move our stop loss down to break even. And it's also a good time to consider removing or securing some of our profit. And so I'll just click that little button there and just remove half. So half of 0.02 is 0.01 and click submit. And usually I have to refresh my screen so that my stop loss is back in the right spot. And then we'll just see, then we'll go on from there. And I like to trail price. Just in case price decides to bounce back. We'll take a look. So we've cleared that fair value gap area. We can see that we've got some liquidity sweep points down here. Those are what my purple lines are. Looks like price is starting to push back up. And so I may exit when we reach that purple line, when we reach that liquidity sweep. And sometimes TradingView, you can see all the bars are like missing. So sometimes TradingView is a little sluggish. It might be my internet service, my internet provider. I'm not sure. Have you ever had that issue? It just happens every now and then. All right, so price is continuing to move down. And we're just going to wait to see what happens. If we see a push to the upside, then we'll go ahead and consider exiting the trade. So we've got two pretty strong bars to the downside. I'm continuing to trail price just a little bit because I want to secure as much of that unrealized profit as possible later on. And we're getting we're getting a pretty strong push up to, we're getting a pretty strong wick to the upside. Take a look at my NAS chart on TradingView. Okay, and price starting to create a green bar, and I think that I've had enough, and so I go ahead and get ready to exit. It's also important to note that I've been sitting here for an hour or two, and after that, remember that we really aren't made to sit here in front of a screen for a very long time, so you may start to be getting fatigued, so it's time to exit. But overall, it was a successful trade. All right. Now it's time to enter our trade into our journals. Remember that the key idea here isn't just the setup, it's the timing. The breakout shows the movement, but the retest often shows the market's intention. So the retest is where the market shows its hand. And it's up to us to recognize these moments. This is where trading becomes more clear. Trade mindfully.